This WAFL Colts broadcast is brought to you by Electrical Group Training. Considering a career as an electrician, visit egt.net.au to start your journey. Amy, when the bounce serves you a clanger, lucky you're with Amy. And Front Row Screens, your local streaming superheroes.
Yes, a very warm welcome to Lane Group Stadium for round one of the EGT WAFL Colts, the season opener for 2026. It is Peel Thunder hosting East Fremantle at Lane Group Stadium. My name is Ethan Roth. Pleasure to have your company here on YouTube as we get underway with the first bounce of season 2026 in the WAFL EGT Colts. And Bo McCouch up in the ruck. James Artemis, that is, pending for a holding free kick. Gets it out to Finn Yo, a couple of familiar names, state summer squad teammates that'll link up, no doubt, for the year to come as we have our first stoppage, or maybe not. The ball comes out. Peel Thunder, a fair few debutants tonight here at Lane Group Stadium, 10 debutants to be exact. East Fremantle also have 9, so 19 fresh faces out there who are yet to taste Colts footy in 2026. The ball just spills on the half-forward flank. We'll have a stoppage. One of those debutants, Joel Badger in the ruck. Number 40, the 240s going at it. Bon McCouch, an overager for Peel Thunder. The ball, quick kick out. East Fremantle in there. Here's Josh Nathan, one of the leadership group members for East Fremantle. There's four of the five out there tonight for East Fremantle. Quick handball to boundary side. Interesting to see if it stays in. Quinton Bastich tries to do so, but he's tackled behind by Tassie Faithful. Peel Thunder haven't won a game since round 15, 2024, and that game was against East Fremantle back then. So, of course, looking to win for the first time in well over a year. New coach, Stephen Thompson, at the helm for the Thunder. They'll be hoping for not a winless season, 0-19 when they went last year. Here's Bon McCouch, got the handball out. Nathan, a couple of touches early, goes wide to James Artemis. Artemis pumps it inside 50. They've got a very ominous forward line to East Fremantle, but a great mark taken, intercepting by Peel Thunder. Quick kick towards this broadcast side. Here's Stewart, one of those debutants for Peel Thunder, but pressure is applied from Finn Yo, and he lets him know about it. Out of bounds on the full from the East Fremantle live wire. A bit rushed with the kick, asks a fair bit of his forward in Wood, and asks a bit too much. That'll be out of bounds throw-in. Not the worst result, though, for the Sharks. But, of course, will be hungry to go an extra step or two in season 2026 after being bundled out of the preliminary final by the eventual premiers in Claremont last year. Yo didn't quite grab it. Hand pass comes out. Trying to fend off was Thompson. And we'll have a ball up deep in goal for the Sharks. Come into this game warm favourites, you suspect, but anything's possible. New season as well. The Thunder, always a tough place to play here in Mandurah. Couch can't get that out. And we'll have another ball up. Quick hit out. Here's Mitch Sterling working back. He's going to be caught holding the ball, given a amount of time there, and was just stripped of it, but enough to be deemed holding the ball. And looks like Artemis is going to have the first shot on goal for the season, for the game. He'll line up inside 50. James Artemis, pre-listed by Tasmania, one of 12 in the country, a couple of years out from his draft year, so recruiters no doubt keeping an eye on him. Under 16's MVP last year. He'll be in and out of this side through state duties, but they'll want to make the most of his use when he's there. And he kicks the first goal of the Sharks season. The first goal of the EGT WAFL Colts in 2026 goes the way of James Artemis. Great finish there by James Artemis. As mentioned, he's had a very successful junior career up until this point, after coming into the Sharks lineup last year as a double bottom major. And so it's the Sharks who go 1 goal ahead in the season opener. Great to have your company here on YouTube. As we reset once more from the centre circle. Yo started on the wing in this one, tried to take on Clark, the skipper for Peel Thunder, who was 5th in the comp for tackles last year in his bottom major. He goes out wide, does the Peel skipper. And they look to bring it upfield for the first time. Through the hands, though, of Fremantle on debut. Quick kick goes to the outer side. Wood can't quite keep it in time. And as part of the new lasso rule, we'll get an inbound from Peel Thunder, who look to backtrack. Sterling asks for it over the top, goes short successfully to McCann. McCann out wide. He wants Entz, who drops it. Another one of these debutants. You're going to hear it a lot through the night. 19 of them out there for both sides playing their first game of WAFL Colts footy, such as the way of his underage comp, taking on a couple of opponents. Scott was crunched in the contest, and you can hear the crowd applaud as Jake Cooper wins the free kick for the Thunder. Another player bypassing, ignored that. A couple of players pointing long, so he'll go long down the line. The first inside 50 is a tumbler off the boot and mobbed up by Basic. Basic just goes short. They'll try and take the game on through the corridor. Richardson on debut for East Fremantle. Mark taken further up the field. Just the one game in East Fremantle in the pre-season. They had a 7-point win over Swan Districts. So, Mark taken. Is it going to be paid in front of this? Sterling had a good read on it, and it's going to be paid to the man in front, and a bit of push and shove off the ball. And looks like a 50-metre penalty going to be awarded, so undisciplined for the Thunder. They wouldn't want to give it away. The Sharks, they're going to get a guaranteed goal right from the goal square. Mitch Sterling probably a bit stiff there, but man in front is the rule. And it's going to be Kai Ormerod, who was 4th in the competition last year for goals. He's part of a potent attack for the Sharks. He's going to kick the easiest goal, and it's the Sharks who got the first 2 majors at Lane Group Stadium. First through Artemis, now through Kai Ormerod. Kicked 22 goals from the 19 games last year, did Kai Ormerod. Debuted the previous year in 2024 as a double bottom major. Also came 10th in the competition for Mark, so he does know how to clunk them as well as finish off his work. Peel. Need a response here. McCall shows his athleticism, grabs it straight out of the ruck, then slams it on the boot. What can Peel do from this contest? Fierce tackle applied from behind, courtesy of Oscar Males on debut for the Sharks. Goes through the hands of the athletic Peel Ruckman, but has support by his side. Quick kick up and under, going to take a fair chance to mark. Unrealistic attempt though, or a hold rather. So Thunder will get a free kick coming their way. Looks like an unrealistic attempt, but the hold coming just before that. And taking the shot is going to be Billy Brooks on debut, the man in the helmet. What a buzz this would be. Your first game and kicking your first goal with your first kick. Billy Brooks comes in. Umpire does not move. And the Thunder get their first goal of the new season. And it's through one of their 10 debutants in Billy Brooks. Can that give the spark that the Thunder are after? 1 goal, 6 players, 2 goals straight. Going the way of the visitors at the moment. Kick the first 2. How about that? Ruckman to Rover. Couldn't have timed it any better. Quick inside 50 over the top. Wood playing from behind. Soccer off the ground from Ben Wood, and it hits the woodwork. No pun intended. He creates chances when you least expect them, Ben Wood. First behind for both sides tonight. Thunder to bring it to this outer wing. Giller was the intended target. In and under. They try and feed it out. Hand pass comes out from Fremantle. Yo. This will suit him. Hand pass was very quick, but they did well. The 1-2 linking up. They have to go back to go forward to the Sharks. That'll be a high free kick. You have to say umpire missed it, but it might work out okay, and then a free kick going against them. So a couple of free kicks that maybe could have been there, but nonetheless, it's going to be the Thunder taking it towards the Hayden Ballantyne wing. That's fierce mark taken, intercepting by the blue and the white. Kicks further down the line. Mitch Sterling in position 1A and takes it over the summer score teammate in Finio. Big height differential between those two. Sterling goes up, times it pretty well, and Fremantle takes the mark. Both Fremantle. Another free player up the field. Nice ball movement by the Thunder. And we called to play on. Long ball inside 50. What can happen here? Great mark taken in from the side. Timed it to perfection. And you can hear the crowd get behind. Loading in from the side. Take a mighty kick from here, but nothing is out of the equation. Kick from 45 metres, slight angle. Strikes it pretty well in terms of distance accuracy just to the right-hand side of the screen. So the Thunder get it back to an even 1 goal straight in favour of the Sharks. 12 minutes to play in this first quarter of the EGT WAFL Colts, the season opener from Lane Group Stadium. All games to be on YouTube this season. Mark taken by Hunter Hearn, one of those leadership group members. Hughes didn't come off the boot anywhere near how he wanted to. Luckily, pressure was applied. Sharks searching for their first WAFL Colts premiership since 2017, so almost a decade ago, while the Thunder searching for their first flag since that 2022 triumph. Clark, fierce tackle. Was it too fierce in the end? Late call, but a dangerous tackle is called eventually. It's going to come back the way of Nate Scott. Mark taken short by Yo. Yo goes back to Scott. They look to bring him further inboard. And honouring the lead of Boothie, who's played just the 1 game. Dangerous hand pass, but reacting okay to it was the Sharks player. Now it's the Thunder's turn to go on the rebound. Up and under kick will just be the required 15, and Scott will sit underneath. There's a couple of players on the outside if they can identify them. They try to go through the hands there of Nascimento. Here come the Sharks. Boothie can make up for that mistake. Hand pass. And it's a full circle moment because he gets on the end of it and kicks the Sharks' 3rd of the game. Isaac Boothie, just the 1 game. back in round 12 of 2025 against Subiaco. So been a while between drinks. And he got on the end of it after being part of the previous play, had the right idea in mind, didn't quite eventuate, but sometimes that can happen when you stay in the contest like that. Sharks, 13-point lead. 9 minutes remaining of this first quarter of the EGT WAFL Colts from Lane Group Stadium. Get another hit out coming the way as East Fremantle. There's a hold free kick that's going to come the way against Clark. Back to Hughes, who goes short. And there's a player free. How free could they get that quickly? Peel Thunder just playing miles behind, and East Fremantle can go back for another set shot on goal. Wonder what happened there. Obviously caught off guard a little bit by the free kick, but there wasn't just one, but two options for East Fremantle in attack. That won't please coach Stephen Thompson. On the other end, Sam Waring, very experienced coach, one of the more experienced coaches in what has been a lot of change in the coaching ranks in the WAFL Colts over the off-season. Coming in, can they nail their fourth? Never looked online. Thompson to do the inbounding. East Fremantle doing pretty well to try and lock it in so far, playing man on man, strong mark in the air taken by the Thunder. Faithful essentially was held, and he does get the luck on his side that time, pleading for a 50-metre penalty, but it won't be. Kicked 5 goals in a pre-season 81-point win against Perth and Tassie Faithful, a player of state 16's experience as well. Mentioned how the Sharks only played the 1 pre-season game. Thunder played 2, going a 1-1 record. Of course, don't want to read too much into pre-season results, but that 80-point win, very impressive over Perth. Thunder trying to spread right across the ground. They do so, but they might turn it over because coming from behind at the crucial time was Reid Foote. He not only did the defensive work, he did the offensive work to set up his key forward in Ben Wood, coming across, keeping the composure. Some players might have blazed away. They had a shot on goal, which he wouldn't have been mistaken for, but identifying Wood in the better position, and why not when you go to the premier forward of the Colts competition in 2025 in Ben Wood. Expect him to convert here. Kicked an average of 2 goals a game, 34 from 17. Makes hard work of it, hits the post in the end, so put the curse on him there a little bit, Ben Wood. Luckily for the Thunder's sake, that lead doesn't blow out as much as it could have. They still find themselves 14 points down in this first quarter. Short, that wasn't a mark, and Wood applies the pressure, but it got him a bit too high in the end. Nascimento popping a high free kick on debut. Long down the line, a couple of options. The full ball didn't go out, said the umpire, so they can take a run at the bounce, misfire with the handball, but follows up his work. Tremendous stuff in the end. It draws the opponent. That was Xavier Little, who's in the state summer squad, showing his blitz and his pace. It's going to be an inbound though, so getting used to those rules, even from a commentary perspective, of that last touch rule between the arcs. Go across goal to the Sharks. Basic kept the composure. The Hayden Ballantyne wing once again. Boothie stayed up. They get the handball out. They've got the numbers here, the Sharks. They want to pile on another one or two before the quarter time break. Still over 5 minutes to play. Hand pass over the top from Little. And hitting up the hard-working Faithful. We look to get back onto his left boot. He'll have to just settle for the play down the line short in Whelan. Ignored McCush down the line, but he'll send it back into the corridor. It's not a bad option in the end because taking the mark is the sole goal kicker in Billy Brooks, who goes further down the field. They've got a player at the back. All he has to do is mark. And didn't quite stick it long enough, said the umpire. Pretty good attempt. Kept his eyes on the ball the whole way, and unlucky for the young man down there, but not the worst result as it hit the behind post for a boundary throw-in. Dangerous position for the Thunder. They aren't first to the ball on this occasion, but applying the pressure. Have a ball up. Comes down, trying to fend off Sharks. Clark, if there's ever a captain's goal, this would be the time, but playing the goalkeeper role. Was it touched? It must have been. Fierce tackle, and the Sharks come over to let him know about it. Bit of push and shove. Lekius in there, and there's going to be a 50-metre penalty not needed for the Thunder, especially when they had the ball right in their half. In fact, it's not a 50-metre penalty. The umpire must have just been saying to move it on. Clark, hand pass out, and diving, spilling the mark at the last attempt. Must have copped a push in the back, set the umpire up. And Robertson already had a one shot at goal from this exact position, probably just a bit more on an angle earlier. Can go back, and judging by the purchase he got off the kick last time, you wouldn't blame him to have another crack this late in the quarter. So Trent Robertson on debut, booming right foot as we saw with that previous kick. They can get another goal through a debutant. That'll be a long way. He knew it off the boot as well. And it's this young brigade for the Thunder who are doing it on the scoreboard in this first quarter. You can hear the elation come from his voice, and the Thunder teammates come to him to celebrate. So we're back to single figure margin. As we get underway with the last minute and a half of this one, McKelsh. The opposing ruck didn't go up, so that fell into his favour. Potentially a free kick. There's been a few holding ones, but umpire elects to put the whistle away there. Ball up on the edge of the centre square. 8-point lead. The Sharks could be a bit more if they kick straight, but can't be too critical in this first quarter of the EGT WAFL Colts season. Kicking it off on a Thursday night. Dangerous ball into the corridor, up and under ball. Who can mark it? The Crummers follow through. Picking it up cleanly there was Motton, one of those summer squad members who's playing his first Colts game. Bit rushed there on the kick. How does it bounce? It looks like it's going to hit the behind post. Cooper Meakin after a late inclusion, it seems, tonight. So the clock will continue to run for all the hard work they have done to get back to single bigger margin. Thunder wouldn't want to concede here. McCouch getting back to help out in the ruck. Sterling, measured approach, comes out wide. Entz was the target. A couple of Sharks come over though, and that might just about do it for this first quarter here at Lane Group Stadium. So quarter time of the season opener. It's the Thunder who have a couple of goals earlier. They still trail though, bit of push and shove, which you wouldn't expect anything less in the season opener. It's 2-1-13, Peel Thunder trailing East Fremantle 3-3-21. Two teams who maybe projected the opposite ends of the ladder, but judging by this first quarter, hopefully we'll be in for a nail biter for the remaining 3 quarters. We'll go to a short break live from Lane Group Stadium and come back for the second quarter of the season opener live from Lane Group Stadium.
Everything I know will be gone. They could have made it round.
Let's have a ball.
Instead, they made a swinging pendulum of luck.
Let's have a dance. We'll do the rock. We'll do the ball. Let's have a ball. Don't tell me.
When the bounce serves you a clanger,
Lucky you're with Amy.
Hey mates, ready to power up your career with EGT? As a proud sponsor of the WAFL, we're all about teamwork and training winners. With EGT, our apprenticeships in electrical trades are hands-on, so you can start working and earning faster, so you can forget the debt and dive straight into earning. Join us today and get the best of both worlds. Great training with the thrill of the game. Don't just dream about success, wire it up with EGT. Visit egt.net.au and kickstart your career.
Welcome back to Lane Group Stadium. Quarter time of the Colts, EGT WAFL Colts season opener. It's 3-1-12. Peel Thunder trailing East Fremantle 3-3-21. Pretty hostile first quarter, which you would expect in the season opener. Looking at some of the key numbers from an individual standpoint, Ewan Thompson is the leading getter on the ground for Peel Thunder, followed by Quinton Bassage-Finio, Drew Clark, Bulmer Kilsh and Noah Stewart, all on 5 disposals. And goals in that first quarter, Trent Robertson kicked his first goal in his first game, as did his teammate Billy Brooks. James Artemis kicked the opener, followed by Isaac Boothie and Kai Ormerod. Ben Wood, a couple of behinds for him for the leading goal kicker of the Colts last year. But second quarter coming up. It's an 8-point lead to the Sharks. Thunder haven't won a game of Colts footy since round 15, 2024, which was against East Fremantle. Second quarter, Lane Group Stadium. East Fremantle leading by 8 points. Clark in the middle. And East Fremantle will get the first clearance, going short, and a searching lead is Richardson. Richardson looks in the corridor, wants Ormerod, who was at full stretch. McCouch. Hand pass over. Quick kick there by Cooper from one end to the other. Robertson, he's looked lively on debut already. Quick snap around the body. They don't have heaps up further ground, but they do have a one-on-one, and a quick hold will be rewarded. Harrison Crowe in pole position, and just a quick jumper grab there was enough to be rewarded for a free kick, and they can go and kick the first of the second quarter and get this back under a goal. Harrison Crowe, one of the best among those 2 pre-season games, both in the win and the loss for the Thunder. Can come in and get the second quarter off to an ideal start for the home side. Doesn't quite sneak it into the left-hand side of the goalpost. And those are the opportunities that you don't want to be too critical, but the Thunder against a premier outfit like East Fremantle are going to have to take when they get those sort of shots on goal. Taking the mark just inside the field of play. Artemis wants Richardson. They're keeping things tight at that boundary line, and too tight perhaps. By saying a boundary throw-in, so it must have been a double attempt there on the juggle. And benefit of the doubt, they're going to have a little bit of a chat here, the field and boundary umpires. Been so much made of the arc in the AFL terms with this new rule, and it's going to be deemed out of bounds on the full in the end, so come back the Thunder's way through Drew Clark. Or rather, it'll be Thompson who was closest to that, deemed by the umpire. He'll just pump it as long as he possibly can. Having a run at it was Hearn. He was impacted by his teammate. Yo working up the field a lot higher than he'd like, but it'll please the coaches that he can be versatile. And pass over the top. Thunder eager to keep it in. Hearn had to go back in board. Another free kick off the ball. Come back the way of East Fremantle, who can just steady themselves out of their back half. Going very short. Not just the required 15 to the umpire. Abbott. Guernsey changed from 25 to 13 for him over the off-season. Bit of a wobbler along the ground. Again, great athleticism by Bol McCouch. Picked it up very cleanly. That won't be 15, so has to steady himself. He's outnumbered here. Luckily, he had the hand pass option back. Stepping one way, then the other. Quick snap around the body, but only as far as East Fremantle to drop the mark. So a few fundamental errors, which isn't too much of a surprise in round one, getting the cobwebs out. Hughes there underneath that one. Bit of support coming for Tom Ward just to make sure he's okay. He's going to go for a spell on the bench the first game up. Artemis bursting through. Won't be the first time we'll say that this season at multiple levels. Over the back, Wood. Sterling breaking through, being caught holding the ball once already, so has to be careful, but a player of class does successfully. And taking the mark over the back was Russell. Russell can go wide through the hands of his intended target, but did well to close in. Did Crow. Read that last set shot on goal. .240's doing battle again. Badger. Clark just slams it on the boot. Gets pretty good purchase on the end. The fist was a crucial one that came in. Bit of slingshot footy back that way, and the Thunder will bring it back the direction that it came from. Bo Fremantle, one of a couple of Fremantle named players, of course, tied in with the Freo Dockers, but from a last name point of view, taking the mark uncontested in the end. With the Sharks going short. That mark taken by Tate Abbott, and that one further up the field taken by Hughes, who dropped that one earlier but makes up for it there. He's going to be awarded the 50-metre penalty here for an infringement. That'll bring him to probably not quite goal-kicking range, but he'll look to set up a goal assist if he can find one of his key forwards. And there's another whistle, and it's going to be 100 metres in the end. So Peel Thunder not doing themselves any favours at all. A 50-metre penalty turned into a 100-metre penalty. And that'll allow Drew Hughes on debut for East Fremantle. There's been a couple of goals that end for debutants for the Thunder. None so more easy for this one with the Sharks. And Drew Hughes gets his first goal in WAFL Colts footy. The Sharks extend their lead once more. That won't please the Thunder coaches. A lot easier said than done, of course, when you want to apply pressure, and there is a fine balance, we know, between giving away free kicks and still being physical, but it spills over a bit there, and East Fremantle get an easy goal when they perhaps maybe shouldn't have. .13-point lead for the visitors. Fremantle on the end of this has a winger outside. He got it back. The stiff arm's a good one. Quick kick as he was tackled, and they can have a shot on goal. The quick reply, maybe should have had a shot on goal. We'll get the 1-2, but dropped it at a crucial time. Coming back one way then the other was that goal kicker. Through the hands of a couple of Thunder players. Little outside of the boot to the top of the goal square. Can they get a mark? Playing in front. Can they get a soccer off the boot? Has he kicked his second? The debutant. The man in the helmet has. And a couple for the first gamer. Right place, right time. And it's Billy Brooks who is providing a spark for the Thunder. They get the quick reply and bring it back to single figure digits. Seems like a real goal sneak, does Billy Brooks. Just did enough to get enough on it. Trickle over the boundary line. So the goal line, I should say. So he's kicked 2 out of their 3 goals. Comes down. Fremantle's got to work pretty well early in the second. He follows up his work again, evading one way then the other, doing it multiple times. Has to be really careful he doesn't go a bridge too far, and just tried to bite off a bit too much in the end there. Didn't mind it, and he did well for the most part, but East Fremantle never gave up. Long ball in the direction of Reedfoot. Floating in from the side was Nathan. Potentially could have been a mark. Ormerod hand passes it off. They've got the number over the back. Artemis is going to have to backtrack. Did he get a high free kick? Umpire initially said you duck, but the non-officiating umpire in sight did call it a free kick. Probably just on his range. Doesn't look super confident. Can't blame him from outside 50, but if there's anyone who can bang this through, it would be James Artemis. He might try and just set it up. He does exactly that to the tip of the goal square. Flying was Wood coming down. Can they get a quick foot to it? It's Reed Foot who does. Up and under ball. And no pun intended, but Reed Foot gets his right foot to it and nails it. And just when you thought the Thunder got a quick reply, which they did, the Sharks do the exact same thing. Through Reed Foot. Geraldton product who debuted last year. Had a breakout game against East Perth late in the year from memory. To really say he's up for WAFL Colts footy at an early stage. Gets it back out to that 13-point buffer. Just over 10 minutes gone in the second quarter of the EGT WAFL Colts. Round 1, season opener. Great to have your company on WAFL official YouTube page. Hand pass comes out. Nathan, a bit quiet since the start of that first quarter, but wouldn't underestimate the impact that he can have from here on in as he spends more time in the middle. Holding the ball, free kick going against the way of the Sharks. Pointing long is Crow. Wants a player flying out there. How about that? Roving to a tee. Celebrating in style as well is McCann. And this is really a second quarter shootout. So the small forwards reaping the rewards of their key forwards making a contest of it. Saul McCann, didn't he love that off the boot? Absolute textbook. The Thunder showing plenty in this one. Especially where the two teams finished up last year, but new season, new coach, anything's possible. Artemis spinning out of traffic, getting back onto his right boot. They've got to play free in Foot. Foot trying to set it up, bit of a wobbler, but it might work out okay. And the midfields for the two teams are working well offensively, but also getting exposed defensively. It's going to be Mitch Baker, who, again, sounded like a broken record, but another debutant who can have a shot on goal in the number 3 Guernsey. Comes in, always look to the right. So, Thunder inbound. A bit sloppy there, but Sterling, a rare mistake from him. Just came off the inside of his boot a bit too much there. And in the right forward pocket, one of the tougher spots on this ground, to say the least, at Lane Group Stadium. It's going to be Marcus Motton, who, again, sound like a broken record, but he'll go back for his first shot if he has the confidence to do. He doesn't look super confident, but Marcus Motton comes in. And that too looks always to the right. In fact, doesn't register a score. A lot of big raps on him, though, over the pre-season. Marcus Motton in the State 18 summer squad. One of several talents in that facet for East Fremantle. Thunder out of the back 50, goes through all of them on the end of its faithful. Runs his full measure. He's going to have to take a bounce. Dropped it in the end. Was pretty lenient not to get the run too far call against him. Little has to go back. kicked off it. There was Entz. Yo just paddling it to his advantage. Has a couple of players bypassing him. Artemis can't grab it cleanly, but did well. Motton can lower his eyes. He does so, but only as far as a Thunder player who mobs up off the instep. A couple of fundamental errors. Might work out okay. Hand pass came there from Nascimento. Over the back there, Entz, and running onto it there is McCann, that last goal kicker, who goes off the left boot. It's a pretty good looking one back in board. The Crummers come, Basic. Sharks have to contend. It was coming off. That was something you don't see too often. A player coming off the bench and trying to mark it as the other player was trying to replace him. And the call there will be that he saved it just in time for a boundary throw in. Clark. Hot potato type footy in there. On hands and knees was the Sharks. Yo, he can't keep that in as well. Of course, 3 other games coming up on YouTube over the course of this long weekend. A couple tomorrow for Good Friday, and then one on Saturday night. So, of course, before all the teams get used to the more traditional morning slots on a Saturday. Great that night footy in particular has been implemented into the WAFL Colts competition. Impressive stuff there by Cooper. Got it on the boot, but filling in the hole, Basic. Comes down the line. Foot, fair task for him, and punched over the line by the likes of Hunt. Eight-point lead. Settled down a fraction or two in the second quarter after a hot start both ways of the ledger. Trying to pick it up there was Giller. Didn't stop trying. Thompson's going to be in trouble. He's caught holding the ball. Just ran into one too many Sharks. Yo, over the top. Wants Scott. Sterling. Bone-crunching tackle, which set up his team to win the footy again. They can go over the top. Bolt. McCouch, who was in two minds, but spent his time wisely. Goes over the top to Fremantle, who can send it inside 50. Sharks playing in front. You're going to have to be quick, though. The pressure applied from behind. They don't stop. Hearn linking up, and they can transition out pretty comfortably. Yo. Goes over to Nathan. Nathan says, come with me, boys, but he lost his footing as he was pointing directions. They luckily mob up. Quick kick inside 50. And Wood not on the end of that. Doing well to mob up. Whelan over the top. There's a player free. McCouch did well selling the dummy. Goes over the top. Fremantle's had a stack of it in his first game of footy. That ball fails to stay in though. Fremantle up to 7 disposals. Short ball, couple of options. Nathan wasn't on the same page there on the handball receive, but again, did well enough to get the handball out. On a presenting lead there is Abbott. They've done this a fair few times where they'll bring the ball out wide, then try go back inboard after to settle things down. Up and under ball. Coming a bit too late. Here's Finn Yo, stayed down. That's unlike him. Finn Yo could do the team thing, does exactly that. Didn't get carried away for a small forward, and he can set up a man in a better position. That's the composure that recruits will love to see by Finn Yo, because he is in the side to kick goals, but when you can assist like that and put your player in a better position, it'll go a long way as well. So, looks like Marcus Motton. Umpire does a bit of dancing, not enough to make sure that it goes through for Brian. In fact, it's Reed Foot who kicks his second, this time from a much easier angle and a set shot. And he has a couple to be the Sharks' only multiple goal kick on the ground, and to rival Billy Brooks at the other end. So, feels like at the moment, Thunder get within reach, but then the Sharks just extend the arm out to say we're in control of this one. Nonetheless, though, 14 points isn't a lot considering we have over a half and this remaining 5.5 minutes or so by the time this ball is thrown up in this second quarter left. Thunder have been really good at replying instantly. Clark, he'll get back onto his left boot. Chip ball is precise. They want to find Brooks. He was trapped in front. Gotta be careful. Hand pass comes out there from Powderly on debut. Jumping on top, Fremantle for the home side. It's going to be a delay here for what might be a blood rule. Clock continues to run, of course. Tap to advantage, Clark. Fremantle. And the hand was put in at the right time there by Males to make sure of it. Sharks to bring it in. Floating in from the side. Martignago, haven't called his name too many times tonight. Goes corridor again. Feeling the pressure. Hughes gone to the 360. Umpire gave him the benefit of the doubt. Hand pass to his teammate when he was least expecting it. Comes over the top. They do well enough to mob up for now to the Sharks. Keeping their composure. Hearn takes a strong mark at a much needed time. And he'll look to play on because Nathan's out wide. Doesn't hit him on the full. Had to get a quick boot to ball. Foot, who's kicked a couple in this first quarter, cooked a high one. Made the umpire known about it, but it was definitely there. He'll get the ball back in his possession. Love to pile on another one. Foot, can he set this one up? Wood at full stretch, just through the hands. Hand pass came out. Just misfiring to Cooper. Nathan comes in from the side, does well to hold his ground. He's going to have to get rid of it because there was no support around him. Umpire may be blindsided there. Quick kick comes out from the Thunder. Pushing the back every day of the week. And McCann can bob up. He'll just try and wait for the cavalry to arrive further up the field. There's not a heap on, but he is eventually called to play on, giving him no choice to go further down the ground. Coming from the side, an early jump there by Little. Clark puts his head over it in there with Powderly, and they can't be split. Both rucks holding each other equally. Thunder have a player over the top who was unmarked. It is McCann. Can he go outside of the boot? Ambitious attempt. Just sneaks in for a behind in the end. Get it back to 12 points for the first time in a little while. Expect the Sharks to take their time here with 2 minutes remaining, not take too many unnecessary risks, although they do love to obviously take the game on. It's been a fascinating season opener so far. Sharks up by 12 as it stands. Quick kick comes out. They want the big man in Badger. 203 centimetre giant who comes via Wollongong, which is a great recruit when it comes to WAFL Colts footy. You don't get too many people from over the east side of the coast, but Joel Badger looking to make that #1 ruck mantle his own in season 2026. Both teams looking to close out this first half well. Quick hand pass comes out. Artemis done reasonably well to corral his influence of the Thunder. Potentially having one arm held there was Hunt. Clark, if it got a nudge to the back, he's pleading his case for a push. Umpire's not having any of it. Maybe a bit stiff there for the Thunder skipper. And they're just going to conventionally kick this down the line, the Sharks. Maybe one last attempt to get a goal. Falcon came the way of the Thunder. They're going to try and sling the shot the other way. Dropping a mark, did all the good work position-wise, was Leckius. Didn't quite stick it in the mitts in the end. So 18 seconds remaining in this first half. 6-4-28, trails 6-4-40 in the way of the visitors. On a Thursday night, kickstart the long weekend, Easter long weekend here at Lane Group Stadium. McCouch tried to grab out the ruck. He'll get a free kick against him, but it won't matter. In the way of another goal coming the way of the Sharks. East Fremantle lead Peel Thunder in the first half of this EGT WAFL Colts season opener for round 1 by 12 points. And there hasn't been a heap in it in terms of margin up or down, but right now it's the Sharks who do take that lead. It's making a bit more of their opportunities known in front of goal, but given Peel Thunder are coming off a winless season last year and the strength that East Fremantle have, particularly with those 18 state summer squad members, it's a pretty good result thus far for the Thunder, but they'll look to regroup as will East Fremantle, and we'll do the same here on the call and come back for the second half at Lane Group Stadium. It is WAFL EGT Colts round 1 live from Lane Group Stadium.
Hey mates, ready to power up your career with EGT? As a proud sponsor of the WAFL, we're all about teamwork and training winners. With EGT, our apprenticeships in electrical trades are hands-on, so you can start working and earning faster, so you can forget the debt and dive straight into earning. Join us today and get the best of both worlds. Great training with the thrill of the game. Don't just dream about success, wire it up with EGT. Visit egt.net.au and kickstart your career.
They could have made it round.
Let's have a ball.
Instead, they made a swinging pendulum of luck.
Let's have a dance. We'll do the rock. We'll do the ball. Let's have a ball. Well, don't tell me if you do.
When the bounce serves you a clanger,
Lucky you're with Amy.
Running through the last of my thoughts, standing on the edge of my time. Everything I know will be gone in a minute, and that's alright. Running through the last of my thoughts, standing on the edge of my time. Everything I know will be gone in a minute, and that's alright. Alright, 'cause I'm free. I'm freer than I've ever been before. Yeah, baby, I'm free. I'm freer than I've ever been before. Alright, 'cause I'm free. I'm freer than I've ever been before. Yeah, baby, I'm free. I'm freer than I've ever been before. Running through the last of my thoughts, standing on the edge of my time. Everything I know will be gone in a minute, and that's alright. Running through the last of my thoughts, standing on the edge of my time. Everything I know will be gone in a minute, and that's alright. Alright, 'cause I'm free. I'm freer than I've ever been before. Yeah, baby, I'm free. I'm freer than I've ever been before. Alright, 'cause I'm free. I'm freer than I've ever been before. Yeah, baby, I'm free. I'm freer than I've ever been before.
Hey mates, ready to power up your career with EGT? As a proud sponsor of the WAFL, we're all about teamwork and training winners. With EGT, our apprenticeships in electrical trades are hands-on, so you can start working and earning faster, so you can forget the debt and dive straight into earning. Join us today and get the best of both worlds. Great training with the thrill of the game. Don't just dream about success, wire it up with EGT. Visit egt.net.au and kickstart your career.
They could have made it round.
Let's have a ball.
Instead, they made a swinging pendulum of luck.
Let's have a day. We'll do the rock. We'll do the ball. Let's have a ball. Don't tell me if you do.
When the bounce serves you a clanger,
Lucky you're with Amy.
Second half, not too far away from Lane Group Stadium. It's Peel Thunder trailing East Fremantle by 12 points in this season opener. Round 1 EGT WAFL Colts action from Lane Group Stadium. And a bit of a momentum shifting first half, you could say. The Sharks who lead by 12 points. You're just joining us, some of the key leaders on the ground. Reid Foots kicked a couple of goals for East Fremantle. The first gamer for Peel Thunder, Billy Brooks has kicked 2 goals from 4 disposals. Pretty good efficiency rate there. Saul McCann also kicking 1 goal. Trent Robertson on debut with a goal. Artemis, Boothie, Hughes, Ormerod all with 1 apiece as well. And from a possession count, Quinton Bassage across half-back is leading with 15 disposals. Bowen McCush in the ruck for Peel Thunder is leading their count along with Goodwin Thompson, those players both. Leaves the premiership caught up. As I said a couple of times, Peel Thunder haven't won a game of Colts footy dating back to around 2024, which was a win against East Fremantle by 16 points. So it's been a long time and no players out there have tasted a Colts win, even with 10 of those guys playing their first Colts game tonight. 9 on the other side of the fence for East Fremantle. Second half underway. And the Thunder close the gap. Will it be the Sharks who will press on and get the first 4 points of season 2026? Having a couple of taps there was Badger. And pass comes out. That's Mito. Sterling put in hot water. Nathan, he ran past it. Yo got the quick hand pass out. It's going to come back to Cooper. Cooper. Bounce doesn't really suit either team. It gets to the back. Both Fremantle's underneath it. Had his arm pinned, which allowed him to not possess off the footy. Very lenient call, trying to break through there. Hearn. Hand pass comes out. Nathan combining with Scott. They've got the one over the top, combining with the big ruck. And Nate Scott will get it back. Lowers his eyes and honours the lead there of Ben Wood. Kicked a couple of behinds in that first half. Ben Wood, he's going to try and set up one of his other forwards in Ormerod. Can he keep it in? Fantastic work. Team first footy. Just a bit too much over the head of foot there. Potentially could have gone back in goal. Mitch Baker, but a bit too selfless perhaps. Obviously hindsight's a wonderful thing. Hand pass comes out. Faithful Clark over the top of the Sharks. Mid in Scott, who set up that whole play in the first place. And will reset right on the 50-metre arc. Kush, was that deemed incorrect disposal? It was. Yo, bit too far out to score, but he doesn't muck around because he recognises a player on the lead. And that player is in the form of Noah Hannaford. A couple of under-18s summer squad reps combining there. Noah Hannaford. Talk a lot about Wood and Ormerod down there, but Noah Hannaford is another option of high value. And it would be quite the start if he can go back and slot this through the big sticks. Got the matchup of Mitch Sterling, so you get one up on him. Wynn just takes it. Wayward to the left-hand side of screen. First score the way of the side that leads East Fremantle. So 4-4-28 to 6-5-41. Long ball out of the back half. Sterling is the intended target. Did well to reel it in with the one hand. Clark, hand pass to the big athletic ruck. Doing well to inbound there was Gatti. The couch just a bit too clumsy. They had the right intention. Umpire comes in and says a bit too much around the neck, and Abbott amongst the thick of it there. Bit of push and shove. Peel Thunder gave not one but a few 50-metre penalties, so they want to be physical but not give away any unnecessary free kicks as East Fremantle quickly transition. Baker just misfired there with the kick and foot a bit too late. Sterling inbounding. Trying to go back in board, mistimed it, but running hard at full speed was Clark. Loves a tackle, gets it out. Quick kick on the instep. Might work out okay for Hannaford, who judges well under the flight of the ball. Nathan short. He ignores that. Tries to go across the face of goal. Foot, they've gone to him a couple of times, and he's not a key forward, so you can't expect him to clunk those as Whelan did in full effect. Clark's intended target has to hold his ground. Baker had Yo over the back. Finn Yo, can he mop this up, break the tackle free? He gives it out to Artemis, kick the first goal from this end of the game. Not quite can replicate it on this occasion. Sharks look like they've come out to play though, early stages of this third. Dropping the mark there. There's another fundamental, one way than the other. Artemis, can he make something up out of nothing? Back to the face of the goal square. Yo, he's an expert from tight angles. Nathan can steady himself, and he too misses as well. So spraying a couple there, East Fremantle. They have had opportunity to put not the Thunder away completely, but get a bigger margin than the current one that stands at 15. Thunder, interesting to see how they can try and close this one back in. That's going to go right over the boundary line, and even a play of Giller can't keep that in. Nathan, couple of disposals in successive moments, goes low inboard to Yo. Wood wants it long. Are they on the same page? This time they are. Can he get it on the second attempt? He reeled it in. It's Ormerod, in fact, getting the 34 and the 33 mistake in there at full reach, which says a lot for a player of his stature. This would be some effort by Kyle Ormerod, who kicked his goal in the first quarter from this end, but this is complete opposite of that on the boundary. He's going to go for the conventional drop punt. Probably going to cop some words of advice from a couple of the Peel players who are not playing on the sidelines, but he can silence them here if he can nail. And silence them he does! In full effect, Kai Ormerod says, I'll just make it look easy when my teammates have missed easier ones before that. And 20-point lead as it stands for the Sharks. They get on the end of one finally. Felt like 3 or 4 minutes they were challenging there. And that was just absolutely nailed off the boot to perfection. Steady approach. Turned straight away to those appeal representatives. And nothing more they could do about that. So 20 points. 4-4-28, the Thunder get to score in this third quarter. 7-6-48, the Sharks. Good Thursday football, if that's even a term, but we'll run with it. McCush tried to grab it out. Clark. Up and under ball, standing his ground. Stewart. Stewart goes in the direction of Faithful. Clean crumb there by Thompson, only as far as Artemis, who just breaks through with complete ease. Goes up towards a 1-on-2, coming from both directions. Yo, he was outnumbered, but this is bed and butter for Finn Yo, but even he misses that one to the right. That's the left-hand side of the screen. Just a tumble of the words there. Bit of miscommunication for the Thunder defence, but luckily it didn't come back to bite them. Sterling in the back pocket. Possession number 9 for him. Goes back in board to the skipper in Clark. They can just settle themselves here, the Thunder. Not sure who that was intended for. Comes back to Scott. Scott wastes no time. Picking up cleanly there. Richardson, he goes back in board through the set. Let's have hands of a couple of Sharks players. Wood doing well to not give up. Spun to the full 360, and anytime you do that without possessing of the ball, you're going to be in trouble. And Ben Wood can go back and or rather, umpire said, gave him the benefit of the doubt. Thought that was holding the ball from where I was sitting, but nonetheless, plays out. Boothie already kicked one goal from this end. Is that another? Just hits the inside of the left-hand goalpost and would have added another multiple goal kicker on the ground in the form of Isaac Boothie. 22 points. What can the Thunder do here to try and gain possession? In two minds, just comes out to the broadcast side. Getting a fair chunk of it there was Little. Hannaford, wrong side of his body, but might work out okay if they can keep it in. Boothie, hand pass back in board, but Clark getting back to help out. Big snap on the boot, up and under ball. Expect a couple of players to sit underneath it, one of them being Abbott, who didn't take his eyes off the ball at any point in time. Great mark, given those circumstances. He goes back in board to Scott, and one of four co-captains or leadership group members, Nate Scott, can go back and kick from just within the arc and try and extend this lead out to beyond the 4-goal region. So Nate Scott comes in again to the left-hand side of the screen. So a few opportunities here for the Sharks. Gone begging, but they still look hot out of the blocks early in this third quarter as we get towards the middle stages. EGT WAFL Colts. Every game on YouTube. WA Football providing the goods as part of the EGT WAFL Colts, as well as the WAFL W on the YouTube as well. Flying through was Little. A couple of times he's looked ominous in that department. McCouch, hand pass out. They can get a bit of running carry here, potentially for the first time in a little while. They're going to have to hand pass over the top. Fierce bump being laid was fair, said the umpire. Trying to basketball into himself was Hannaford. Not having the ball, Brooks, but not enough to be awarded the free kick. Run and jump impacted Hannaford. Great backup option to have in that department when the likes of Badger rotating on the bench or up forward. A couple of nasty collisions, saw that coming. Hope the players are okay. Baker down. Courageous effort to not take eyes off the ball. Meanwhile, the play continues. The fist came crucially, but a bit too high over the back. Did they take advantage now? No, they didn't. Umpire said players weren't aware of the free kick, and the shot was taken too quick after that, but looks like just off the screen we're seeing at the moment Baker is okay, the debutant, which is a great sign. That was a nasty collision. Players coming from both directions, and again, tremendous courage shown. So Austin Lechius, one of the more experienced Thunder players in this very young outfit. They need a goal, and this would rub a bit of salt into the wound for East Fremantle if they can go back in their first opportunity, nail it when East Fremantle haven't, despite kicking goals in this first quarter. It's coming back, not enough. The Sharks to bring it back the other way now. Here's Hughes. Goal on debut for him tonight. 11th disposal, more than serviceable outing in game number one. Sterling gets the handball, can compose himself, bit of a wobbler again, and come back to that exact man in Hughes. He's called to play on. A couple of Thunder players impacting, was in two minds. Handball back, Lechius, well, fumbled. Did all the hard work to make that opportunity in the first place. Hand pass comes out there by Males. Sharks all of a sudden on the back foot, but they can try and work their way through it. Clark just lays tackles for fun, and he's rewarded. It's Faithful, or rather, on the end of it. Tassie Faithful, great name for all commentators alike. So, Pumps it inside 50. A couple players fly. Where's the crumb? They have to go back to go forward. It was Crow. Hand pass out. Tries to get the 1-2. It works out in the end. Sidestepping, but not quite enough. And that'll be holding the ball, you have to say. Indeed it is. And Males, who's a big unit, sets the tone. There's a bit of a hold up here. Billy Brooks just cramping, it seems. Saying I need to come off. Hopefully it is just a cramp for his sake. It's been a debut individually to remember for him. 2 goals of the 4 so far for Peel. They look to take it to the outer side to the Sharks. Up and over the back of Morton. Clean pick up though. Hand pass over the top, Richardson. Now they can go Martin Nago. He's closed down, holding the ball. So a couple of nice pressure acts on both sides of the fence, and Leo Giller on the end of that one. Surging ball, only as far as the Sharks though. Clean pick up. Again, Hearn, gonna have to take a bounce, but luckily got the handball, but Artemis was facing the wrong way. Can he get it out? Can't break the tackle there of Cooper. Couple players just crammed from both ends. Hearn there, so that's what happens in round 1. It's been a long pre-season. Of course, they've played a few practice games, or for East Fremantle only just the 1. But there's nothing like the contest of round 1, which is where we find ourselves Thursday night here in Mandurah at Lane Group Stadium. Cooper grabs it out. McCouch. Hand pass over the top. They don't want to overuse the handball, so Faithful recognises that. Goes on the left, piercing ball and taking the mark on the searching lead. Here's the Thunder. Forward in tuck, it looks like. Just a couple of disposals for him to kickstart his 2026 campaign. Cohen Tuck, long ball. It's going to go right to the edge and just sneaks in for a behind. So inaccurate goal kicking, a little bit of a feature in this one. Long ball down the spine. Bit of a risk, but might come back to bite them. Can they go for home here? A long searching kick from Faithful. There you go, Thunder. That could be a bit of a momentum swing, perhaps. Tassie Faithful, who kicked 5 goals in the pre-season against Perth in an 81-point demolition. On the rebound, I said it was a risk coming out from East Fremantle. You've got to obviously risk it sometimes, even though they are in front. But on the flip side of that, it opens up an avenue for the other team to kick it back over at your head, and that's exactly what Tassie Faithful has done. Very business-like celebration as well, saying, come on boys, get us back in this one. And 16 points, the buffer as it stands. 8 minutes to play in the third. Comes down, Scott doing battle in there with Cooper. Clark as well at the bottom of that pack. Comes out Hannaford. Wasn't really expecting it, but did well enough to get boots a ball. Bouncing ball. This will favour the small forward brigade if there's any in sight. There's not. Not sure how Ormerod disposed of the footy there. Thunder under a bit of siege, but the likes of Boothie, Ormerod coming in, diving on top. Umpire says, I'll have it. See Finio creeping in there. He's dangerous in this situation. Can't quite smother the ball, but it's going to hug the boundary line as a couple of players fly over the back. It must have been touched off the boot. McCann holds it in. Fremantle has to be quick. Wasn't deemed a tackle, just pushed off. It was probably the right call in the end by the umpire. He'll get it back, Fremantle. Had a bit more time that time around to possess, but it might actually work out. Get it on the boot. The messaging perhaps is Tuck. Had that last shot on goal. Goes further down the field to a genuine one-on-one, and over the back is the man who's already hit the scoreboard tonight from this end in Trent Robertson. And this could be, all of a sudden, to get it back to a 10-point margin, which you probably wouldn't have said that at the start of the third term with how many inside 50s and clearances the Sharks were winning. You heard it as soon as it left the boot for his first goal, and I dare say if it goes anywhere near that, you hear it again not too long after, if it can hold its line. He arcs out, and that's a moment he'd like again. Passage. Been steady all night for the Sharks. Goes short to Hunter Hearn. Motten elected to not go up. This is going to be a fierce contest. Well done to both players. Fair bump played and going all by himself there. Giller ran out of options in the end, had to settle for the boundary line throw-in. Great to have a lot of these guys who will be in and out through 18s program and that sort of thing in the first 3 or 4 rounds of the season. Of course, Colts Super Round coming up as well, which is a key feature on April 12. But yeah, great to have a lot of these players inside the first few weeks, because for some of them, it's their only real opportunity to play consistent footy until finals or until the state 18s champs are over. As East Fremantle, clever stuff done there by Scott, but Artemis was on the end of a dangerous tackle by Clark, who gestures to the umpire that he wasn't happy with that. Artemis pinpoint there. He'll go off for a spell here just to watch this space. Artemis is saying needs some assistance. One of the Jack Clark medal favourites, despite still being a bottom major in 2026, which is hard to believe. Meekin goes towards the forward pocket. A couple of options inside, and holding his ground well was the player in Martignago, who will have a shot from a similar distance just within the boundary line of where Ormerod had that last shot. This would be an even, well, it would match it, if not beat it, if he can go back and slot this. Lincoln Martignago. Sometimes the harder ones are easier to convert, as Kyle Ormerod showed earlier. Let's see if this one can stand up to the test, and it's a happy hunting ground. It's a happy hunting pocket, you could say. The left-hand side of the screen down there, East Fremantle, they're missing the easy ones there, showing that the harder ones can go through in a flash, and East Fremantle back out to 22 points. They love that forward pocket, to say the least. So back again for the final couple of minutes of the third term. Lincoln Martignago kicking his 6th career Colts goal. Tumbling ball this time in the favour of Peel, but clean pick up there outside of the boot. Superb stuff by Basic. Mark wasn't taken. Umpire blew the whistle early, thinking Nathan would just mark that easily. Didn't in the end, but it's going to work out okay. Hand pass came from Motten through, but only as far as Whelan, who's been part of that back brigade, who's done pretty well tonight, I should say, especially on Penwood, who's still been held goalless as it stands. 22 points or thereabouts, depending on what this last minute 48 has in store is what the Thunder are going to try and reel back in here in Lane Group Stadium. If they can get another, that would give them a bit more confidence, but it's not going to be easy. And East Fremantle not going to go away by any means. Ball coming back the way of East Fremantle. Abbott going short. Might want it back here, but settling things down. They don't need to take any risks there. Ball's it in their court. East Fremantle still going to, of course, close this game out. 25 minutes, a long time. Anything can happen, but for now they're in the box seat. They go long. Over the back. First to it, going to be Whelan. Keeps it in the nick of time. Careful across the goal face. One-on-one, brushing off Badger really well. And it's going to stay in the field of play. Crow. Faithful went to ground. Did he drag it in? Apparently not. Gosh. Martin just overruns it slightly, and he can't keep that in, so that'll just about do it, you'd say, for the third term. 22 points going into three-quarter time. 5-6-36 Peel Thunder. They're going to have to score at least 4 goals to come back and have a memorable win. 8-10-58, the Sharks. 1 quarter to play out. Stranger things have happened in WAFL Colts footy, and for the season opener, 25 minutes left to play. EGT WAFL Colts from Lane Group Stadium. It's the Sharks who head into the last with a 22-point lead. Back shortly.
Hey mates, ready to power up your career with EGT? As a proud sponsor of the WAFL, we're all about teamwork and training winners. With EGT, our apprenticeships in electrical trades are hands-on, so you can start working and earning faster, so you can forget the debt and dive straight into earning. Join us today and get the best of both worlds. Great training with the thrill of the game. Don't just dream about success, wire it up with EGT. Visit egt.net.au and kickstart your career.
They could have made it round.
Let's have a ball.
Instead, they made a swinging pendulum of luck.
Let's have a day. We'll do the rock. We'll do the ball. Let's have a ball. Don't tell me if you do.
When the bounce serves you a clanger,
Lucky you're with Amy.
Welcome back to Lane Group Stadium. Final quarter of the season opener of the EGT WAFL Colts coming up. It's 5-6-36 Peel Thunder trailing East Fremantle 8-10, 58. So a 22-point deficit that the Thunder will try and reel in heading into the final 25 minutes. It's been a seesawing game. East Fremantle just getting out to a lead in that third term. They won that third quarter after going into half-time with a 2-goal lead, so a 10-point third quarter win in that sense for the Sharks. And it's going to be a big last quarter coming up. Set the tone for the season ahead here in Mandurah. Set the whole weekend up as well across multiple levels of WAFL, as of course we have the league and rest of the male competition kicking off in round 2 of the WAFL W, which WAFL W can also be seen here on YouTube. But for now, the Colts, last quarter, who will run away with the 4 point to kickstart their 2026 campaign. Thunder get the first clearance out of the middle. That's going to be crucial. Brooks almost stuck that mark in the end to go back and kick his third, not to beat for the time being. Comes down, Clark. Fremantle wasn't expecting it. Again, Clark, McKelsh in and under, pleading for a free kick from the umpire. Comes out to Clark, again tries an attempt on goal. Coming in from the side, players from both teams. Lekius puts his head over it, and we'll have to settle for a ball up. How's this sit with the umpires? Hand pass through, interesting decision coming up. Was he under enough pressure? He was, says the umpire. Bassett just professionally rushing that through. Goal to play on. Goes down the corridor, gives Scott an opportunity to hand pass back, but he didn't want to do that. Nate Scott. Probably the right decision in the end. It was a player closing on him. Elects to go hand pass and get the 1-2. But they just tried bite a bit too much off that. One-on-one, playing in front, losing his footing in the end was Males. Luckily, he didn't come back to bite him. Basic. Giller trying to get the free kick. Umpire wasn't buying any of it. Quick kick comes out. Wood trying to impose himself in this last quarter. Sterling just breezes through. Hand pass just before he got tackled. That won't be 15. In fact, it will be. Fremantle didn't realise that. Quick boot to ball. It might work out in the end. Just the wrong side of the goal mount. And didn't look like it required 15. Umpire said it was, so he was just reacting purely off instinct there. They close it down by a couple of points. 20 points as it stands. East Fremantle, there is a whistle, but it's just going to be a player who's hobbling off for the Sharks. Both trainers assisting, so hopefully everything is all right there. Last thing you want is an injury of significance in the opening game of the season. Short ball, Hannaford. Says move it on. Through the corridor, it's all the Thunder though, and Sterling takes another mark. Got a player on, just miscued with the kick. Lekius can pick it up. Clark's running through. He'll try and wheel back on his left boot. He does. Didn't get the purchase on it. Got more height than anything, but that still didn't matter in terms of the distance. It's again another behind. So it was East Fremantle at this end of the third term ruining chances. Now it's Peel Thunder who can't quite hit the scoreboard as effectively as they'd like. That ball just getting over the top just enough to East Fremantle. Of course, time will be on their side as one goes deeper and deeper. Up and under ball. Wood is going to come from behind. And pass Yo. Motton goes on the non-preferred. Running back was the Thunder player who was trying to mark and run at the same time. Clark, ball inside mid. Cooper's going to be tackled by Scott, coming through full 360. Not sure that was disposed of correctly, but we play on regardless, sitting underneath it. Thunder. Faithful, big booming left foot to the top of the goal square. Can they get a mark at the back? Big fist. Robertson, can he wheel back on his right boot? He does. He's got a natural knack for the goal sense. Again, another behind. So they're making opportunities, Peel, and they're not going to go die wondering, that's for sure. East Fremantle eager, though, to get it out there 50 in a flash. Held up for a moment is Abbott. Nice mark there taken by Wood. Looks to go back in board. Has Scott, who has Yo over the top. He's closed down but got his kick out when it mattered most. Ormerod floating in from the side, tries to fend off, needs to get a hand pass off. He does. Quick kick around the body there from Abbott. How does this one sit? It would really hurt. Motton can grab it. Can he keep it in? He can. And that is a bitter blow as Marcus Motton kicks his first goal in the blue and the white from the goal line. And that has got to hurt Peel Thunder for all the behinds they kicked leading up to that major from Marcus Motton. Didn't do too much wrong there, did Stewart, a fellow debutant. Just lost his footing. The ball didn't treat him too well on the bounce. And an even 4-goal margin is how it sits. Both teams kicking 10 points apiece, but it's the 9 goals that has the upper hand over the Thunder's 5 for a Sharks perspective. What can the Thunder do to try and put that behind them? Keep closing in. Yo, hand pass out. Hearn slams on the boot with the first opportunity he has. Ormerod plays from behind. Hand pass comes out. Tuck's going to be first to it. Ormerod's direct opponent, hospital hand pass, but standing underneath it enough time is Clark. See why he's the captain of this team. He just leads by example in and under. Tuck got a high one. Umpire potentially might have missed it. Then Artemis was stripped of it. Must have been blindsided there. It's usually paid. Again, Artemis just holding that left hamstring or leg, so he went off earlier. Hopefully it's just around one cramp more than anything, or just a slight niggle. Yo breaking through. Hand pass over the top. They knew where Ormerod was, and he had a lot more time than that to convert. "17 minutes to play. Thunder just over that 4-goal margin. Been impressed though by them considering their season last year as they demand players to come towards them. Clark does so eventually, trying to draw the play, but did well to give it up to the ruck. Ball McCouch. He can run his full measure. Hand pass over the top, but East Fremantle had other ideas in mind, trying to break through, but no prior, says the umpire. Yeah, been really impressed despite this 25-point deficit that they face, considering they didn't win a game last year. They showed some really good signs, not only in the first half, but in the second half as well, despite not being able to convert as much as they'd like. Holding his ground there really well was Nasib Minto. Did well to bring it out. And they're not done yet, Thunder. Russell takes the chest mark. He has Stewart working hard up the ground from the defensive end. He lowers his eyes. Player lost his footing, but got up at the right time. Has to be quick. Is Abbott. pushed off it. Breaking through. Powderly and back inboard. Foot, he's going to be caught. Had no one to go to apart from a Thunder player. Comes out. Quick kick by Little. He just kicks in hope more than anything. Ball trickles forward. Trying to wheel back around is McCann, and composure was spot on, and he'll hit up a man who's kicked 2 goals tonight, and Billy Brooks on debut. And this to get it back down to a 19-point margin. Really well done there to not blaze away. See the player free in the pocket. So Billy Brooks been a shining light tonight for the Thunder. And like many of his teammates previously in this quarter, he misses that one. So Sharks take a bounce and run and carry it. Wood's going to sit underneath it. Just needs to make a contest more than anything. He did that, and it came back, fell into his lap. They kick it forward. Great mark taken by Yo. No stranger to taking marks, even if that one wasn't a complete specky, but it didn't need to be. He finds a play in short, and just those little 1%ers by Finio set up another set shot coming up for East Fremantle. This to perhaps put the final nail in the coffin. Comes in and hits the woodwork. So can't buy a goal at either end at the moment. It's all just behinds. 25 points back out to. You wonder at what point did Peel Thunder trying to risk it all to potentially lose by a bigger margin in this round 1 matchup. They come towards this broadcast side, and keeping it just in the nick of time is Ethan Nascimento. That's a risk that I'm talking about. Back in board, not paid the mark in the end, stripped of it. Sterling comes through, potentially didn't have it. Coming back the other way, is Wood going to get out the back? He is. And as I said, sometimes you do have to risk it in order to try and come back, and on the flip side of that, and come back to bite you. And this time, Ben Wood, don't want to put the mockers on him, but for 0 goals too, he's usually a shoo-in for at least a goal. And this time, he can take his time, take his full 30, go back and add his name to the score sheet for the first time in this new season. He does exactly that. He's on the board, is the reigning leading goal kicker of the EGT WAFL Colts. Been a tough night for him in front of goal, but finally some reward on the scoreboard for Ben Wood. And that could just be about a bridge too far for the Thunder to try and reel back from here. Lekius has gone into the ruck for the Thunder. The mainstay Badger in there for East Fremantle, getting some much important midfield minutes. And Yo's also going to the middle. Read that really well over the back and set up Boothie for another. And well, he may not have hit the scoreboard tonight, but Finn Yo, goal assist central if this one can go through as well for him. Back-to-back plays in that sense. Of course, Finn Yo trained with Fremantle over the pre-season. Play a big part in the state 18s later this year as a small forward, and who knows what could happen towards the back end. East Fremantle just happy to have him in their side for now before those duties kick in, but it's going to be Isaac Boothie to add another one. He can't quite do that. They do well to keep it in through Ormerod. He was pleading his case for deliberate because it wasn't quite outside the arc, and umpire gives the benefit of the doubt to Drew Clark. Really outsized is Lekius. Going to ground Abbott. Got a clean ball to pick up there. Eventually the kick comes out to the Thunder. Having to play from behind was Tark, reading it really well. East Fremantle, but a quick wayward kick forward, only in the hands of Thompson. Thompson just backtracking to Sterling momentarily. Dangerous ball, going at full pelt there was Boothie. Clark didn't have a bit of time to set his options. Was on the wrong side for left footer. Boothie as well. So a comedy of errors coming up. Yo can break free. Gives it out to Wood, who has a big booming right snap around the boot. Goes up towards Ormerod. Goes through his hands against Sterling. Sterling can compose himself. Coming through, and he's caught holding the ball by Ormerod. Can't believe his luck, Mitch Sterling. He's battled hard all night, but just bit unlucky there as the pressure came. It's been a gallant effort by the Thunder up until now. Disappointed if they let this one blow out a bit, but also can't take anything away from East Fremantle, who for mine are going to be a very tough team to beat in 2026 off the back of a preliminary final berth last year. Ormerod can waltz in for his third of the night. He does exactly that. And the players recognising he's kicked his third. East Fremantle would have hurt them last year, that prelim. The players obviously moving on in the top age side of things, but obviously guys like Ormerod, Yo, there's a lot of them who played in that preliminary final, especially after beating Claremont in the first week of the finals as well. Would have hurt to see Claremont go on to win a three-peat, but new season under Sam Mainwaring, and I think their time is now to strike as they search for their first Colts flag, 2017. Hannaford doing duties. Clark, and pass out. Outside of the boot there from Giller. Coming through, attacking it really hard was Tark. Fremantle caught in two minds. Umpire was lenient, comes back to Giller, sidestepping around, has the support, has to be really quick to get this onto the boot. It was a rush kick in the end. Did he do enough to keep it in? Good mark, but not in the field of play from Brooks. Long kick out. They want the tall timber in Powderly. Couldn't quite get there in time. Sterling breaking through. Third time he's been caught holding the ball, but you can't fault his willingness to try and take the game on. See if they keep Mitch Sterling back. Obviously, that's where he's played tonight, but could be a forward option as well if need be. Later down the stretch. Free kick coming back the way of Richardson, one of the players who no doubt get a lot of Gatorade or Powerade, whatever they're using in the team song. One of 9 debutants going to taste success in terms of a win for the first time in game number 1. East Fremantle surge forward once more. Going to ground, key forward, Ormerod. Soccer off the ground is his successful one. And it's Boothie who has his second. He's been threatening on a couple of fronts. And he too is going to enjoy a round 1 victory in game number 1 in the Colts. Or rather, correcting myself there, of course he's played 1 game already, as I alluded to earlier. But first game since round 12 of 2025 for the number 4. Just looking ahead to next week for these teams as well. Does not get any easier for the Thunder, coming against the 3-time reigning premiers in Claremont. And then Colts Super Rounds for East Fremantle as well. Facing Subiaco, that's at Joondalup on the Sunday. So those are the matchups for the teams after this final 6 minutes is complete. They'll turn their attention to that. Of course, East Fremantle, no doubt, celebrate a win here in Mandurah. It's a tough place to play. Quick kick out from Scott. Finyo's got going as this one's gone along, has Finyo. Wood trying to grasp it in, did well, got the handball out, almost knew Baker was by his side. Quick kick, which may have been a shot. Ormerod will roll in for number 4. Happy days if you're an East Fremantle supporter in the Colts. They're blowing this one out to almost 50-point margin, and yet the feeling they're wanting to pile on more pain in this last 5 minutes to come. Of course, Peel Thunder, first Claremont in a pre-season game, losing by 65 points. So don't have to search too far and wide for recency in that, even if premiership points weren't up for grabs. Claremont playing against West Perth on Saturday night to open their triple premiership defence. Only team who has won a 4-peat in the Colts was Claremont back in the 1990s and the 70s prior to that. Artemis on the non-preferred. Good to see him back on the ground. Mark taken by his teammate in the form of Scott. Possession 18 for him. Bangs it forward. Can the likes of Ormerod get a handful? Boothie crumbing there, comes out. Mails off the outside of the boot, rather. It's Richardson. Ormerod, he couldn't, could he? From here, trying to do the team thing. Hand pass it back in board. Sterling across goal. Dangerous one, but a safe option to Stewart, who goes likewise short to Russell. Stewart again. Done some impressive things on Colts debut himself. A tough night, or tough last quarter. Exactly. He turns that ball over. Motton occupying that wing role well tonight. He'll go in the direction of Wood. See those paid sometimes, Mark, but not on that occasion. Fremantle around the boot. Playing in front. Big bump coming up there by Brooks. Sting has gone out of the game a little bit, but to be expected round 1. Tired bodies and obviously a long season ahead, so East Fremantle won't be getting carried away, but as I said, they'll still soak in this one, especially with so many new faces in their lineup. Motton on the end of a handball receive. Baker coming through. Good to see him back on the ground as well after a collision earlier in the game. Credit to Peel Thunder as well, for sometimes you can be tempted to play a lot of overages in a young developing team, likes of Will York, who's looking to add more senior games to his league career and can hopefully play a lot of league footy this year in the Fremantle line team. But credit to Peel Thunder for blooding the youth, because it can be tempting to play overages with a team that struggled last year to try and bolster their team, but they're letting the youngsters have their opportunity. Same can be said with Matthew Becker, who has probably got his eyes as well. Similar goals for Peel Thunder's league team, if not reserves. So not a whole heap to get out of this one for the remaining minute and a half. East Fremantle maybe looking for another. Peel the same, but it's a long way from their goal, as McCann, one of the 4 goal kickers, tonight. He'll get a 50-metre penalty for an infringement. East Fremantle have been pretty good in that department tonight when a few have gone against the Peel Thunder on the other end. Under a minute to play, McCann. Expect him to send this through, send this as long as he can. It's a helicopter off the boot. Motton couldn't quite mark. Picking it up there, Abbott. Quick kick out. Foot says, or Boothie rather says, settle things down, boys. We've got this in the bag. We have done for, well, pretty much since this quarter started. Peel Thunder battled hard tonight. It's always going to be a challenge coming up against a team who were in a preliminary final last year. It's going to be a foot race on to close this one out. Can they add another? Outnumbered is the big man in Badger, and that'll trickle out of bounds. But Peel Thunder battled hard for the best part of 3 quarters, but it's East Fremantle who have shone through for their first win in the season opener. They get the 4 points down in Mandurah here at Lane Group Stadium with 9 debutants tasting a win for the first time. 5-11-41. Peel Thunder defeated by East Fremantle 13-12-19, a 49-point win in the end. Blowed out a little bit, so probably doesn't reflect the entirety of the game, as Peel Thunder definitely had their moments under their new coach in Stephen Thompson, who has a lot to work with, and some positive signs through the likes of Billy Brooks, who kicked a couple of goals on debut, Ewan Thompson, who led disposal count for both teams with 27. Their captain, Drew Clark, had 25 disposals as well. And a nice goal in the end for a fellow debutant in the form of Trent Robertson. For East Fremantle, Finn Yo had 24 disposals. Really confidence-boosting game as he looks for more midfield minutes. We know what he can do as a sneaky small forward, but didn't hit the scoreboard, but still had 24 to lead East Fremantle. Quinton Bassett across halfback at 21, as did Jet Abbott, reading that 20 disposal mark. Kai Ormerod 4 goals, a couple maybe in junk time, but can't take anything away from him as he supported the likes of Ben Wood up there who kicked the goal. Isaac Boothie, 2 goals in his second game of Colts footy. Reed Foot, a couple of goals in the middle stages of the game as well. Still a bottom major, which is exciting for a young group that is East Fremantle, if they are challenging. But it's East Fremantle, 49-point winners to kickstart their campaign here in Mandurah. Look forward to your company again throughout the course of the weekend. All Colts games and WAFL W games live on YouTube in season 2026. The ATCO WAFL W and the EGT WAFL Colts. I'll be back in the commentary position on Saturday between West Perth and Claremont in the Colts, as well as West Perth and Claremont in the WAFL W tomorrow. So a full weekend to look forward to, but all the other games will be covered by our wonderful commentary team in Colts and WAFL W as the Easter long weekend kicks into full swing. But full time here from Lane Group Stadium. Peel Thunder, promising signs for a team who didn't win a game last year. They certainly matched it for a large portion of that game. But in the end, it's East Fremantle who come with a 49-point win here at Lane Group Stadium. My name is Ethan Roth, wishing you a very happy Easter, and we'll see you for the weekend ahead of footy live here on YouTube. But for now, the Sharks prevail in their season opener. Good night.